equals 0. Following equation cannot be guaranteed to have a solution. All right, so for this to equal 0, well, as far as I understand it, I don't think there's any way a natural log can be equal to 0. Let me just double check that on Desmos. Handy dandy Desmos. Natural log x graphed. I'll blow you down. Natural log of x could be 0. Can be 0, so it comes out to -5. That's nice. Okay, so 50 cosine of x. Interval. Well, let's just graph this whole bugger out. Power of x plus the natural log of x over 50 cosine of x. Equals 0. On the interval of 1 to 3. Well, I can see from the equation that if at 0, this equation comes out to roughly 263. So let's say this comes out to x would, for this to be accurate, this would have to be x equals 0.263. And unfortunately, that falls outside of the that is outside of our interval of 1 to the 3. So what makes it do that? Well, I mean, if we multiplied both sides, we would get 3 to the power of x plus equals 0, and that would come out to 3x is equal to the negative natural log of x. Now, the natural log. So, if we did 1, so let's do 1 to the 3. So, it's just 3. And the natural log of 1 is zip. So, we get 3 equals 0, which goes out to 0. Now, if we, using using intermediate value theorem, if I remove this entirely and use interval value theorem, I would come out to 3, 1 plus the natural log of x, and then 50 cosine of 1. And just so we can speed this up, I will just write out the other half of that using plus natural log of 3 and 50 cosine 3, which can be rewritten as 3 natural log of 1 is 0, so that's just 3 on top. Cosine of 1. Let's just make that times 50 because I hate fractions. 50 cosine 1. There we go. Wow. This comes out to roughly 27.01511. Actually 12 if we're going to split hairs, which is definitely not below, is not zero. It's definitely not less than 0, so that's just malarkey right there. Going on the other side, 9 plus the natural log of 3 is roughly equal to 1.1, and the 50 cosine of 3 is interesting, negative 49.5. Okay, so this comes out to 10.1. $49.5. Well, that's definitely true. It does fall somewhere between 0 can definitely fall somewhere between 1 and 3, according to IVT. But that's assuming that's ignoring x equals 0. Or the f of x equals 0, rather. Basically, with f of x equals 0, it falls on a very specific place in IVT, which unfortunately you can't. This point doesn't exist between these two intervals once you, because this is saying f of x is 0, and this is saying the function. This is saying x between x and 1 and 3. If we worked back through this, we get 0.263, which is below, which is less than 1. So that is why this equation cannot be guaranteed to have a solution at 0. All right, given the graph of y equals f of x, sketch the graph of y equals x. Explain the key features of y equals f of x. Okay. Well,